Hi, thank you for joining me. Today, I am going to be talking about soul purpose, why it's important that we know this information, how we can find it out, how you can use the information and knowledge to create the life that you want to be leading. So, what is soul purpose? If we think of when we came into being or when our soul came into being, there is an original soul essence for each of our souls. So, if we think of all of divinity and all of the divinity split up into different souls so that it could experience itself. So then each soul is going to have this special blueprint. Basically, what the soul is doing is it is experiencing everything based off of that blueprint. And so it's important for us to understand what that blueprint is. So when we think about soul purpose, we can think of it in terms of that blueprint. So that soul essence that was with us from inception, from when we were first created. A lot of times we know when we are soul aligned. That means that when we're aligned to our soul purpose, because things feel right, because things are going well, because things feel effortless, things come to us in a way where it seems like we're not working hard for those things. So things are just manifesting in our lives without us feeling like we're doing the work. And it's not that we're not doing the work, but what we're doing is so aligned that it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like fun a lot of times. It feels like joy. And knowing what that soul purpose is then helps us create that alignment. Now, can we find out what our soul purpose is just on our own here in our 3D experience? And yes, we can. There are different ways that you can do it. There's different methodologies where you can look at your life in a very linear and very logical way to determine what the clues are about what your soul purpose is. Now, a lot of times, I think that going into the Akashic Records and finding out in your record what information we can find out about your blueprint or about your soul essence is a shortcut. We don't have to go through all of the layers of finding out everything that we have done in this lifetime, especially because much of what we do in this lifetime is based on conditioning. It's based on programming that is not necessarily aligned with our soul purpose. It comes from our parents, it comes from our culture, from society, from the media, and a lot of those things that we sometimes want because of the marketing or the messaging that is coming from the outside world makes us think that we want those things because we want to create something, but they're not soul aligned. So it's important to go back to what that soul essence is, to what the soul blueprint is telling us. And the easiest way to do that is to go back to the Akashic Record. So why wait? Why go through kind of trial and error and then stripping the layers of programming and outside influence when we can have a shortcut and go to the records and find that out? Now, can everyone access their records? Yes, everyone can. Now, some of us can access them more easily or more readily because we have that higher connection to 5D, 6D, and then we can bring down that information to 3D. So you can, of course, learn how to tap into your soul records and bring back that information, or you can work with somebody to bring that back for you. Now, having that awareness is primary. Part of what I'm going to be talking more about what I'm calling the AHA method, which is awareness, healing, and action. And so the first component that is critical is awareness. That means having that knowledge. Once you have that knowledge, now you can start applying it. Now you can start healing those areas in your energetic bodies, whether it's in your mental body or your physical body, where all those blocks that you have gathered throughout your life or created through maybe multiple lives or in this particular lifetime, that is keeping you really from connecting with your soul purpose. Then that would be the healing component. That's the next step. So the first step is really coming into awareness of what our soul purpose is. I wanted to start by having this conversation and setting it as a foundation for everything that's going to come, so that then we can apply that to our life purpose. That is what we came here to do. And that's usually what we think about when we talk about life purpose. So how can we apply this information to this particular lifetime?